All right, this is the afternoon session with the Elizabeth teachers. We just did a bunch of the have them be users and have them use the hardware, and now we're just gonna show how to, I guess, put together a simple scene in Unity and build it for the PC. And so let's first I have the Oculus app open, and we went through how to get your hardware connected. So here we see the Rift and Touch is all working and live. Um, and so I'm just going to start a new Unity project. I was trying to build this Quest prototype, but it was built for it was on Android settings for build, and I actually never tested it for PC VR building, and it wasn't it was getting errors, so I didn't have time to figure out what was going on. So I'm just going to try and do a new project. I'm going to do a Rift test build as the name. And let's see if we can get something built off the Rift. All right, while that's building up, just remember that go to developer.oculus.com, and like here's all of Oculus's tools and documentation, and here's for Unity. So they have reference, and you used to have to download the Unity package from the Oculus website, but now it's more integrated. Um, but if you need to read about what all the different packages are doing, then this website will be for you. So right now there's an empty Unity um, project, and I'm going to go to the asset store. That's under Window, General, Asset Store, and I'm going to type in Oculus, and right here the Oculus integration. It says it's purchased, but it's free. You just click on it. Looks like it's a little out of date. It says I was downloaded on May 22nd. So it's whenever something needs is out of date, it says update. So it's just getting the most recent version. And it's opening up the asset. All right. Once it's ready, you can just import it in. And I was going to show you another part of Unity, but while it's importing in, it kind of freezes it. All right. So remember, this is an empty project, and a package is just like uh, like a zip that has a whole bunch of assets that go into your project window, external files. So all the folders that everything is contained in, but we have audio files, waves, a lot of CS scripts, some prefabs, some textures and shaders and materials. And as you scroll through it, you see there's a lot to this Unity package, even FBX and animations. You right? Oh, okay. So one thing to note is everything says new on the right because none of this exists in the project currently. Sometimes if you try to re-import something or maybe bring in another asset and it has like similar um, assets, files in the same folder, instead of new, it'll say like overwrite. It'll have like a little arrow icon. I'm just going to import everything in. And also, you could have deselected stuff if you didn't want everything. You could have just said, no, don't import certain stuff in. So it's important to note that I had the Oculus app already open and it showed that the hardware is connected. You're going to want to do that before you're dabbling with the hardware in Unity. So you need to have Oculus app open and Unity app open. You start a new project and you bring in this Oculus integration into your project. And yeah, I've actually never built for PC before because it's always just it's there. You always see it when you're working in Unity. So let me see if I can get that working. Okay. A new spatializer plugin found. You want to upgrade. If you choose upgrade, the old plugin will be renamed. Sure. So I found something, an Oculus plugin. I want to update. It says you have to restart Unity. That's fine. Whenever you add something new to Unity, like a plugin like that, you should restart it anyway. Make sure it's fully loaded in. All right. So it's restarted. You can see up here now we have this Oculus tab up in the main window. So this is one way to show that the Oculus integration, the plugin exists. I don't really use these, um, but again, you can check the Oculus documentation. This sample scene was in here before it. Let me just quickly see if there's any sample scenes. Otherwise, I'm just going to show you how to bring in the prefabs. This is like a filter. So I basically clicked at the root of the Oculus folder and just filtered. Just said show me all the scenes. So it's a quick way of saying where are these, like all these assets, Oculus VR scenes. If I click around, it looks like they're scattered. Some in the sample framework. Avatar grab. Okay. So I'm just gonna click play real quick, and I just want to see if I'm able to grab stuff in the Rift. So I see a bunch of cubes around me. I don't see a hand. Local avatar with grab. Go and open the inspector. I'm gonna pop out of game view. I'm looking at scene view right now because the game view is connected to the headset, and I'm trying to see where the hands are located. So okay, this is my right hand, and there's some. Okay, I'm knocking down stuff. It seems like my hand is. Oh, here we go. Here, I finally saw my hand. Nope, it's because I checked it out. It's supposed to be like a model connected to this default hand material. So this is local avatar with grab. This is a prefab, and it has the camera and the hands all connected to it. I can see in the scene view my hand is moving. Just where's the in relation to the camera? All right, I'm right by this nesting of cubes. I'm kind of using the scene view to, yeah, the hand should be like right beneath me. Oh, okay. I can grab stuff. There's just the hand's not being rendered for some reason. So sure, I can pick up cubes. These T sections like change colors like when they're grabbed. Looks like every time you grab, yeah, changes orange. Okay, this is a fun scene to play around with. The only issue is, why is there no hand? I think it's kind of interesting just to see. I'm messing around with these sample scenes and kind of debugging why I'm not seeing stuff. So these are the underneath local avatar with grab. These scripts are get unwieldy, but they're all from Oculus. You don't usually you're never diving into them. You're just like turning features on and off on them. Let's see, material manager. Got their left and right. This all looks good. And then here's OVR camera rig. So there's a bunch of. Usually when there's errors, bringing in like an asset and they're one-offs and you can just clear them out and you don't have to worry about them. But I'm getting clustering failed. Please close applications. Okay, I'm getting. Oh, maybe this screen recording. Maybe because I'm screen capturing, I'm getting like an out of memory error. So one thing I'm gonna note is that this down here, this is like updating the rendering, the lighting situation. So I'm just gonna unclick auto generate lighting and just generate it once. I think it's because I'm screen capturing. I just turned off auto generate the lighting just to see if same. Everything's functioning, but I just can't see the hand. Um, so in 3D and VR, like the lighting does need to be kind of figured out because the 3D models need a light source. There's one directional light in there. And you should bake out. It's called baking out the lighting just once. Like figure it out, bake it onto the 3D models. But I'm getting a clustering job failed total memory. Increase the size. I'm gonna close down some of my programs. Hold on a second. I've went enough memory. It shouldn't be an issue. This I'm still using. This is a lot of tabs. I'll say that. Let me close that out. Yeah, I do have Maya open. It's a content package for 3D. I'm actually gonna close Unity and reopen it. I'm just gonna close down some stuff. This should be fine. All right. Let's try it again. All right, I'm gonna open up Rift test build. I think it worked. The whole scene's a little bit more lit up. I'm turn off auto generate, do the lighting. All right, we're good. All right, it was everything I had open. So I'm just gonna kill this little lighting window. I'm gonna click play, and I'm back to my other situation where I just wanted to see. It looks like there's no hand model showing. So this allows me to kind of, let's go dig into the prefabs. So anyway, this was in, the name of this was Avatar Grab. Just so if you want to find the scene later on, it's under Oculus and Avatar and samples and Avatar Gallery. All right, sure. So this prefab local avatar with grab, I'm just going to say select it, and it's going to go in the project view and find it for me. And here's the prefab for it. So we have a default body manager or material, the hand material, and these left and right hand grabber scripts. From my project, I have the same thing, and the hand is showing. I'm just going to do a quick search on prefabs. And seeing if there's any other hand stuff quickly. Custom hand. Yeah, there's the hand. Hand script. Left. I'm just going to copy this component, and it looks like it's sitting on left hand. I'm just going to try and paste it in. And then I'm going to go find custom hand right. It looks like there's just this one script, this hand script, that's not on this prefab. I'm kind of just piecing stuff together. If it doesn't work, at least everything else works. No, just want to render the hand for some reason. Oh well. But the rest of this scene actually works. There's a bunch of stuff you can grab. So I'm just going to see if I can build that. Yep, the right hand, left hand works. All right. Let me just see what else I need to talk about. It's called the local avatar with grab. So grab is a feature. You can grab stuff with your controls. It's local. I mean, it's not networked. Or it's a local version. Maybe it is for networking. Oh yeah, there's a section here on network. Visibility, show first person, third person. There's some visibility check boxes. I'm just gonna play it real. Nope. Let's see if maybe that turned the hands on. Left hand custom pose. Anyway, when you want to dig deeper, the avatar grabber left and grabber right, this little hierarchy of game objects, this has everything you need to make the hands as these physics objects and knock stuff around. But I guess it's worth talking about the OVR camera rig. This you're gonna use. This is the basics. So this is how you get left eye, right eye, instead of just the main camera, which the 3D dev class was on. The OVR or Oculus VR camera rig. So up here, you have a camera rig script. You have this OVR manager, this headset. The emulator is for working in the editor, but basically all this sets up this tracking space, which has left eye, center eye, right eye, and your left hand, your anchor points for your two hands. So this whole tracking space is um, basically managing how it knows how this whole headset's moving through this virtual space and where its location is within it. So it's tracking the headset. And just know that left eye anchor is the camera, and this is actually a camera component. This is the traditional component you're familiar with. And there's one for the left eye and one for the right eye, and everything else is just handled for you. So the OVR camera rig is just a prefab. It handles all this crazy camera business for VR. You don't even need to worry about it. Eventually, you might want to start turning on and off some stuff, but you don't have to think about it for right now. And this local avatar with grab, which is this parent prefab that has everything in it, not only the camera, but it has stuff for the controllers. It's all put together into one big crazy prefab for you. So it's tracking your hands and your heads and your head. Everything's done. And then another feature um, that the grabbable feature. So the avatar grabber left. It's just basically a cylinder collider against the floor. It's kind of hard to see. Maybe if I move down. There we go. It's just a capsule collider or a cylinder collider, and there's a large volume of space one and a small one. And by default, it just goes to the big. But there are settings here to say, yeah, here your grab volumes. if you want the big volume of space to grab from or the small volume. And so what's happening with grabbing is you have this grabber script, but a grabber script is only on the hands, and then all of these little cubes must have, yeah, a grabbable script. So there's just the other side of the equation. So whenever, so again, this whole thing, big head and hands thing, is a prefab. You just drop it in. It sits at world space zero. You really don't have to worry about their side. It's all done. You just need to know, like, if you're going to interact with stuff, that object, it needs to have some type of collider on it. It needs to have some type of render on it. You have to see it most of the time. There's a rigid body. And these three things are covered in the 3D dev class. So you can see it. It has like a physics collider. And when you put a rigid body on it, it says that it's an active participant in the physics system. It's not passive. So that's why you saw things being dropped and falling down. See, use gravity is turned on. It has a mass on it. So when you click play, all these cubes kind of drop to the table. They're just like a very small amount, maybe sitting above the table. It's kind of hard to have something sit perfectly, so there's like a small little drop point. Um, so with that collider, rigid body, and this, now there's this one script, OVR grabbable. So if you just go into your project view and just type grabbable, let's see, spell it right, grabbable. Here we go. OVR grabbable. This is the script that you can just drag onto your objects. And by default, you don't even need to mess with any of this. At this point, you can grab something and it acts like just a real physics object. You can grab it and drop it. And it's at this point, it's really plug and play. That's what I'm saying. The whole thing is really the 3D dev, and this is just the part on top. The only weird thing is you're supposed to see the hand. I've had no issues ever seeing the hand, the not being rendered to the camera. But I'll just look quickly at local avatar with grab. Bring it in one more time. Yeah, these are the two hands, the separate prefabs. And, oh well. So building, file, build settings. So here's a little separate window. Um, when you first, you have to check for any errors at runtime in Unity. So, for example, I was seeing lighting issues. So anything like that's going to kill your build. So I made sure I fixed everything in the Unity editor so it played and there's no errors while you're playing it or starting it, and you can play it in the editor fine and everything feels well in VR. That's the first step. The next step is build settings. That was under file, build settings. So you have to drag in the scene that you want to build. So by default, it brings in sample scene, which is just this initial scene, which this is not the scene I'm in. So I'm in avatar grab. So I'm going to go find avatar grab. And here's the Unity scene. It's got that little white cube. You can also say add open scenes. So I'm currently in it. I can click this button. There's avatar grab. But note that I'm building two scenes now. So for games that have multiple scenes, like a start, like an intro, a start scene, a pause menu, and like all these levels, they'll all like build up in here. But we don't have that. We just have one scene. So I'm just gonna delete that.
Does the order matter?
Yeah, just the first one. The first one is gonna load up first. So whichever scene is the first at the list, that's what opens up. And if that scene isn't connected to other scenes, then it's not gonna do anything. They all have to kind of connect together. So I have one scene, avatar grab. My platform is PC, which my little icon sitting right there, that means that's the correct, or that is the current platform I'm building for. Just know if I click on others, if you want to build for something else, you click platform. But I'm currently on it, and that's good. I'm doing Windows 64. That should all be fine. So I'm good. And you can click build and run where it'll build it and run it right away, but let's just do, I usually just do build. And so here we are in the root of the Unity project. And normally I create a new folder, just called build, and that's where I'll put the build into. So once you click OK, it'll build. Um, and so here it says some stuff like compiling shaders and building the player.
Building like space.
Yeah, the exe file that is just can run on Windows. If you double click, not through Unity, but like you can give it to anybody, and if they have Oculus plugged into a Windows machine, they can run it. All right. So this looks good. At the down here it says build completed with a result of succeed, and it even popped up a little file explorer window, and I'm in my build folder, and along with a bunch of stuff, here's the exe, and I'm not sure if all this needs to come along for the ride when you give it to somebody else. But I'm going to say for now, here's the exe file, and if I double click on that, let's see what happens. All right, so screen resolution is my native screen right here. It's going to do the right screen, sure. Although it should be running in the headset. So let's see. Yeah, so it's connected to the headset. So here's my cubes. Physics takes over. A few of these got knocked down. This one in front of me was wobbling a little bit, and I could pick up some of the cubes. Yeah, this all works fine. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? All right. Yeah, so I'm doing full screen, so whoever's watching this on the recording is only going to see a partial of the screen, but it works. So I built successful for a PC. Um, so in this case, I would dig into the Oculus documentation on why the hands aren't being rendered. But I will still show. I think I'll show quickly the other project, building for the Quest, just like a quick run through, like at least so you're aware of what the main process dealing with another package. So I'm going to cancel out of this. That. I'm going to go back into Unity. Go back into the Quest prototype. In this project, I think I'm going to go through. You know what? I think I'm going to do some tutorial. I'm going to do some videos for VR. But just talking about how we built this prototype scene. So looks like even the lighting here got affected. Let me just rebuild the lighting. Okay. So this is this little CS tutorial app that was made for the Quest standalone. What I'll do later on is I'll go through all these scripts. Actually, this is a nice connection because that whole 3D dev class just got turned into this one script called painting input. This is going to be used as a tutorial. But I have like a level manager that's kind of higher up, keeping track of all these stations and what the user is doing. Each station has its own script. So the task station, the number station. In this game, anyway, that the user goes through these stations in a cyclical manner and interacts with the levers to learn about binary math. So the number station teaches that three levers are 3 bits can give you up to 0 to 7 or 8 numbers. And then there's a shape station and a color station. But yeah, I'll talk about this at a later date. But like as you can see, that everything is like low fidelity. We just did cubes, and if I bring in, say, this number station over here, this is going to be like our remodel of the number station based off of just like a designer building nice stuff because we tested out everything on cubes and it works. So I'll talk about this type of idea of low fidelity prototyping, and I'll just go through all the scripts, like how this whole scene is operating. And again, it's you understand all the 3D dev stuff. All you really understand is how to drop in the local avatar with the grab, which takes um, the headset and the hands, and how I'm pulling all these levers. Is all these levers have these grabbable on it, but I'm actually keeping track of its movement and also like I'm looking at its translation, but then converting that to a rotation so that it feels like a lever is rotating and not just moving with the hand. But all that is going to be at a later date. I just want to show that there's a whole scene. I test as I was developing. I was just clicking play and on the computer with the Rift, making sure the levers work. Like if I click play right now, I'll have this little tutorial station right in front of me, and it's going to ask me to understand that, oh, this is a lever over here. Close either hand, right? And now I can move this lever, and you see it's going from 0 to 1 or on to off. And then we move through these stations. And it works on the desktop on testing in new Unity editor. But let's say we want to go to a Quest, a Go, a Gear VR, all of which are Android. I'm gonna switch back to Android because that's where I was in this. I was originally, before starting this video, we were seeing if I could do PC builds out of this project, but whatever I was doing was very specific to the Quest. Anyway, I switched over to Android, so now we're in Gear VR, Go, Quest. Um, so some other, besides importing in the Oculus asset plugin that you saw I just did, we need to talk about preferences, external tools. All right. So I've got Android Studio and Java JDK. So let me open those up. So to build for Android, which usually is for mobile development, but now all these mobile VR devices are on the same thing. You need to install Java JDK, and on that you're going to need version 8. So this right here, you install for Windows, and wherever you install it, you remember it because then you just browse to it. Now you have JDK connected. Next is Android Studio. You can actually just get away with installing the command line tools because this is how you're going to connect to your device, and you can recognize it, and you have to give it like authority that the computer can mess around with it. So you'll get these pop-ups. Basically, you're turning on dev mode into your Android device, but you need to do that through some command line tools that are available through Android Studio. So I just download the whole thing, but there should be like something down here where it's just command line tools only. Like you can install that too. So either way, it'll work, but you basically have to say where the Android SDK exists. Um, and then there's some tools in the command line. Maybe in another video I'll show you. I used the path. There's like in Windows, in Linux and Mac too, but you in Windows there's the path variable. So if I type in ADB, it's using, even though this is not under C users admin, it exists somewhere else. It just knows where that command is. But if I do ADB devices, it shows that nothing is attached. But if I plug in, let's see if real quickly, I'm just gonna plug in my phone. It should recognize it. I think I've built to it before. So yeah, in this case, this is saying it sees my phone, but it's unauthorized as a phone. And I've never connected my phone. But yeah, sure, allow access on my phone. And if I run the command again, I always allow from this computer, allow USB debugging. Now it says unauthorized, it says device. So I can actually build what are called APK files. The APK files run on Android. And so you can build, we do like mobile games. That's a fun thing too for high school level. And most students will have a phone that you can build to. But anyway, if I were to plug in my headset, it would say, yes, you're connected to the headset. You've allowed access to the headset. And on top of Unity and the Oculus plugin, SDK, what have you, now there's the Android SDK, there's the Java JDK, Java SDK. And with all of that, you can just build, and you can build right to Quest Go and Gear VR. Gear VR technically is you're building to the phone. So you would build your Gear VR app right on your phone, and then you slide the phone into the Gear VR headset like I showed you. Yeah, you have to mess around with some of these settings here. Like you have to give. There's a little bit. I went into player settings. I just clicked this button, and not only do you need like a company name, you need like a product name up here, but it should match this package name. Then you have to know what API level for VR. You're pretty good. I think Lollipop. So Android has these different versions of its OS. If you ever do augmented reality, you're gonna have to be higher up. I forget what. I think it's 7 or 7.1 or something. Maybe it's even at Oreo level now. I don't know. But this right here, virtuality move to XR settings. So this, I don't even know if I did it in the other. I'm going to open up the other project quickly after this. But this is actually something you need to do. You need to turn on virtuality supported, and you have to say which one in Oculus is in there. So for Android, for Quest Go Gear VR, you do have to turn this on and connect it, and then you're good. After that, you can build it, and you're good to go. Have a good one. And as you can see, I have a different scene turned on, this test scene, so I would go back. Actually, my prototype scene is what I'm really building. So that, in a nutshell, is building out to Rift, and now I just showed you quickly Quest Go and Gear VR. And as I said in a later video, I'm just going to go through. It's going to be more of a training video for the teachers. Like this is all the scripts I did in my app if you're interested in using it. Anyway, I just wanted to go to build settings. And yeah, it must have been when I imported in the Oculus SDK, it must have went here. Because I went to build settings, I clicked on player settings, and it looks like virtuality support is turned on, and we're working with the Oculus SDK. So that must have been done automatically. Anyway, I just want to take a look at the hands in my Quest project, and then because I couldn't understand why they're not being rendered out in the other project. But if you have any other questions, so grabbable left. I kind of modified these a little bit because I was doing something a little bit different than what the conventional is. But no, it looks like it's weird. Hands do render fine here. I don't know. That's something I have to look into. Um, for some reason, hands have always been rendered fine for me. And just when I plugged in that prefab before, it wasn't. So I'm just gonna assume. Oh, enable hands. Yeah, capabilities. I can jump into the other project real quick. Actually, you know what? This is a good situation. I'm going to open both projects. You can have more than one Unity open. So I'm going to troubleshoot by looking at two projects together and see if that gives me any information. So I just opened Rift test build. I'm going to open Quest prototype. And I'm just going to look at, I'm going to shrink up this. All right, I can see both. Yeah, enable hands. This one even has enable body. Show first person. That's good. This one, I see default body hand material not showing up top here. So I've got different versions of the Unity asset, the different projects. I don't know if that's the issue, but I'm just comparing. I know when I click play over here, what happens is like the model gets populated once you move the hand. Okay, I move the head, and yeah, so hand left, hand right. So here's my hand, the actual model. Oh, yeah, hand right renderal part. So you see all these parts of these game objects were dynamically created at runtime from this prefab. I'm just going to stop playing that one. I'm just going to start playing the other one. I'm going to move the headset. Okay, that generates the player. And interesting. And it doesn't. I'm going to say this. For some reason, the Oculus plugin on my one's working better. I don't know. It's something I'm going to have to look into. But you saw how the hand model gets generated at runtime. And I just have to figure out why there's two different issues with one Oculus package and not the other. But it should be fine with you. Any questions? I'm stop the video.